The tempests of existence are not a matter of if, but when. They will come for you, the gale-force winds of misfortune, the torrential downpours of disappointment, the lightning strikes of sudden crisis. Many are broken by these storms, capsized and drowned in a sea of their own fear and despair. But you are here because you seek a different fate. You are here because you understand, or are beginning to understand, that there must be a way to not just endure, but to stand unyielding. This isn't about finding a temporary shelter. It's about forging an unbreakable defense. Today, we delve into the ancient, battle-hardened wisdom of Stoicism, your shield against life's storms. This isn't a quaint philosophy for dusty books. It is a practical, powerful armament for the modern warrior facing modern chaos. By the end of this, you will understand how to construct this shield, how to wield it, and how to become the person who meets the storm head-on, not with fear, but with a calm, unbreakable resolve. First, let's be brutally honest about the storms you face. They are relentless, and in our hyper-connected, constantly shifting world, they take on new and insidious forms. It's not just the classic adversities of loss, illness, or financial hardship. The modern storms are often more subtle, yet just as corrosive. There's the incessant storm of information overload and engineered distraction. Your attention is a battleground, constantly under siege by notifications, clickbait, and the manufactured urgency of 1,000 trivialities. This isn't just annoying, it's debilitating. It scatters your focus, erodes your ability to think deeply, and leaves you feeling perpetually agitated and unproductive, tossed about by digital currents, unable to steer your own ship. Without a shield, this storm will drown your potential in a shallow sea of mindless scrolling and fleeting dopamine hits. Then comes the hurricane of social comparison and the desperate quest for external validation. You're bombarded with curated highlight reels, leading to a constant, soul-crushing comparison of your reality with someone else's carefully constructed fantasy. This breeds envy, inadequacy, an annoying sense that you're never enough. You start outsourcing your self-worth to the whims of likes, comments, and the approval of strangers, becoming a puppet to public opinion. This storm hollows you out from the inside, leaving you vulnerable and fragile, your sense of self as flimsy as a paper boat in a typhoon. Consider the storm of emotional reactivity and the pervasive outrage culture. We live in an age where emotional incontinence is often mistaken for passion. Minor inconveniences are blown into major catastrophes. Disagreements escalate into bitter conflicts. The media, both social and mainstream, often thrives on stoking this fire, keeping you perpetually agitated, angry, and fearful. Reacting impulsively to every provocation, every headline, every perceived slight, means you're constantly battered by external forces, your inner peace shattered by things utterly outside your control. This isn't strength. It's a sign of profound vulnerability, a sign your shield is missing entirely. And what about the storm of uncertainty? The ground beneath our feet feels less solid than ever. Careers are disrupted, economies fluctuate wildly, and global events can shift the landscape of our lives overnight. This pervasive uncertainty can breed a deep-seated anxiety, a fear of the future that paralyzes you in the present. You worry incessantly about what might happen, wasting precious energy on specters and phantoms, unable to act decisively in the here and now. This storm keeps you small, timid, and forever bracing for an impact that may or may not come, while life passes you by. Finally, there are the internal storms, perhaps the most dangerous of all because they originate within your own mind. The relentless squall of negative self-talk, that inner critic that whispers of your inadequacy, your unworthiness. The chilling fog of fear, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of loneliness, fear of stepping outside your comfort zone. These internal tempests can be more destructive than any external event because they poison the wellspring of your own resilience. They are the cracks in your foundation that allow the external storms to wreak maximum havoc. Facing these multifaceted storms unshielded is a recipe for a life of quiet desperation. The consequences are stark: chronic stress that ravages your physical and mental health, burnout that extinguishes your passion, a pervasive sense of weakness and victimhood, and the tragic feeling of being adrift, a ship without a rudder at the mercy of every wave. This is not the life you were meant to live. This is not the strength you are capable of embodying. The good news is, there is an alternative. There is a way to forge that shield. That way is Stoicism. So what exactly is this Stoic shield and how is it forged? Many misunderstand Stoicism. They picture a grim, emotionless automaton, suppressing all feeling, passively accepting every blow life deals. This is a gross caricature. Stoicism is not about becoming unfeeling, it's about becoming unbeatable by your feelings. It's not about passive resignation, it's about active, virtuous resilience. It's about understanding the nature of reality, the nature of your own mind, and using that understanding to build an inner fortress, a shield that deflects the worst of life's tempests while allowing you to engage with the world with courage and purpose. At the very core of this shield, its foundational plate, is the dichotomy of control. This is perhaps the most powerful, life-altering concept Stoicism offers. Epictetus stated it with brutal clarity. Some things are within our power while others are not. Within our power are opinion, motivation, desire, aversion, and in a word, whatever is of our own doing. Not within our power are our body, our property, reputation, office, and in a word, whatever is not of our own doing. Think about that. How much of your suffering, your anxiety, your frustration stems from trying to control things you fundamentally cannot? The weather, the economy, other people's opinions, past events, future outcomes. These are outside your direct control. To invest your energy in fighting these is to guarantee defeat and misery. It's like trying to command the storm to cease. The Stoic shield is forged by relentlessly focusing your energy, your effort, your concern only on what you can control. Your thoughts, your judgments, your choices, your actions, your responses, your character. This isn't about giving up. It's about strategic allocation of your power. When you internalize this, truly internalize it, a profound shift occurs. The storms outside may rage, but they lose their power to destabilize your inner world, because your peace is no longer contingent on external conditions. Your shield holds because its integrity is derived from within. The integrity of this shield is further reinforced by the Stoic commitment to living in accordance with nature, which, for Stoics, means living in accordance with reason and virtue. The four cardinal Stoic virtues are wisdom, understanding what is good, bad, and indifferent; justice, treating others fairly and with respect, fulfilling your duties; courage, facing adversity, pain, and fear with fortitude; and temperance, moderation, self-control, avoiding excess. These virtues are not abstract ideals. They are practical tools for navigating the storms. Wisdom allows you to correctly assess a situation, to see past your emotional reactions. Justice guides your interactions, ensuring you act honorably even under pressure. Courage allows you to stand firm when the winds of fear try to knock you down. Temperance prevents you from being swept away by destructive impulses or desires. Living virtuously, according to Stoic principles, means that your actions are aligned with your deepest values, creating an inner coherence that is incredibly resilient. This is the steel from which your shield is tempered. Then there is Amor Fati, the love of fate. This is often misunderstood as fatalism, but it's far more profound and empowering. It's not just about passively accepting what happens. It's about actively embracing it, willing it to be as it is because it is. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." It means understanding that every event, even the seemingly negative ones, can be a teacher, an opportunity for growth, a chance to practice virtue. The storm isn't an enemy to be cursed. It's a challenge to be met, a force that can temper your strength if you approach it with the right mindset. Amor Fati turns the very elements of the storm into materials that reinforce your shield. Instead of fighting reality, you align with it. And in that alignment, you find an incredible source of power and peace. And finally, consider Memento Mori, remember you will die. This isn't a morbid obsession with death, but a powerful call to life. The awareness of your own mortality strips away the trivial, the petty, the insignificant. It forces you to confront what truly matters. When you remember that your time is finite, the small anxieties, the daily annoyances, the fear of judgment, these things lose their sting. They are put into proper perspective. Memento Mori helps you focus your precious, limited energy on living a life of purpose, virtue, and meaning, deflecting the distracting winds of triviality. It clarifies your priorities, ensuring you are building a shield worthy of protecting a life well lived. How do these core tenets of Stoicism directly counter the modern storms we identified? The storm of information overload is met by the dichotomy of control. You control what you consume, how you focus. Virtue, temperance, wisdom guides you to choose depth over distraction. The storm of social comparison is shattered by focusing on your own actions and character, virtue, rather than external validation, dichotomy of control. Memento Mori reminds you that others' curated lives are irrelevant to your own finite journey. The storm of emotional reactivity is calmed by understanding that your judgments, not events themselves, cause distress, dichotomy of control. You practice wisdom in choosing your response. The storm of uncertainty is navigated by focusing on your virtuous actions in the present, dichotomy of control, virtue, and embracing whatever comes with Amor Fati. You cannot control the future, but you can control how you prepare and respond. The internal storms of negative self-talk and fear are challenged by rational self-assessment, wisdom, courageous action despite fear, courage, and understanding that these thoughts are often just opinions, not facts, dichotomy of control. Stoicism, therefore, isn't just a philosophy. It's a comprehensive operating system for a resilient mind. It provides the intellectual framework and the practical tools to build not just a shield, but an entire internal citadel, strong enough to withstand anything life throws at you. Now let's move from theory to practice. How do you actively forge and wield the pillars of your Stoic shield? This isn't about intellectual understanding alone. It's about daily, rigorous application. The first pillar of your Stoic shield is mastering perception, building your inner citadel. The Stoics understood a profound truth. It's not events themselves that disturb us, but our interpretations, our judgments, our perceptions of those events. Your mind is the fortress, and your perceptions are the gates. If you allow flawed perceptions in, the enemy is already inside the walls. A key practice here is negative visualization, or premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This isn't about pessimistic wallowing, it's a strategic preparation. Seneca advised, "What is quite unlooked for is more crushing in its effect, and unexpectedness adds to the weight of a disaster." So, you calmly, rationally consider potential misfortunes: losing your job, a relationship ending, a health scare, public criticism. You imagine how you would cope, what resources you would draw upon, how you would apply Stoic principles. This does two things. First, it desensitizes you. By contemplating these scenarios in a controlled way, they lose much of their terror. When or if they actually occur, they are not a complete shock. You've already rehearsed your response. Second, it breeds gratitude. By contemplating loss, you appreciate what you currently have far more deeply. This isn't about inviting disaster. It's about steel-plating your shield by removing the element of surprise and bolstering your preparedness. Think of it as stress testing your defenses in a simulator before the real battle. Next is the practice of objective judgments. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself to strip events of the emotional drama and subjective coloring we tend to add. Is your business failing? Or is it that revenue has declined by X%, requiring new strategies? Did someone insult you? Or did they merely utter certain words, the interpretation of which as an insult is your own addition? This means seeing things as they are, plainly and factually, without the overlay of terrible, awful, unbearable. When a storm hits, describe it to yourself in the most neutral terms possible. The wind is blowing hard. Rain is falling. Not "this is a catastrophe. We're doomed." This disciplined perception prevents your emotions from hijacking your reason. It allows you to respond effectively rather than react hysterically. It keeps the gates of your inner citadel secure. Crucially, this leads to the art of ascent. You are constantly bombarded with impressions, sights, sounds, thoughts, feelings. The Stoics taught that you have the power to choose whether or not to assent to these impressions, especially the ones that lead to negative emotions or unvirtuous actions. An anxious thought arises: "I'm going to fail this presentation." You can choose not to assent to this thought as truth. You can examine it, question it, and replace it with a more rational, constructive thought. I am well prepared and I will do my best. The outcome is not entirely in my control, but my effort is. This is about taking command of your inner dialogue, consciously choosing your internal responses. This is the active defense mechanism of your shield. In modern life, this is vital. When faced with online criticism, do you assent to the idea that a stranger's negative comment defines your worth? Or do you objectively assess it, perhaps extract any valid point, and discard the emotional venom? When a setback occurs, do you assent to the feeling of being a victim? Or do you assent to the challenge of finding a way forward? Mastering perception means you become the gatekeeper of your mind. The second pillar of your Stoic shield is disciplining action, becoming the virtuous warrior. A shield is useless if it's not carried into battle by a capable warrior. Stoicism is not a passive philosophy. It demands action, virtuous action. Central to this is focusing on the process, not just the outcome. Remember the dichotomy of control. You control your efforts, your intentions, your actions. You do not fully control the results. Therefore, the Stoic warrior dedicates themselves to performing their actions with excellence, with virtue, regardless of the immediate outcome. The archer aims carefully, draws the bow with skill, releases the arrow smoothly. Whether it hits the bulls is subject to wind, a faulty arrow, or other factors. Her good lies in the perfection of her attempt. In your life, this means pouring your energy into doing your work diligently, treating others justly, facing challenges courageously, even if success isn't guaranteed, even if the storm makes progress difficult. This frees you from the anxiety of outcome dependence and anchors your self-worth in your character and effort, which are always within your power. Your shield is held steady by the consistency of your virtuous effort. This naturally leads to an emphasis on duty and responsibility. The Stoics believed we all have roles to play as a parent, a citizen, an employee, a friend. Fulfilling these roles virtuously to the best of our ability is a cornerstone of a meaningful life. This isn't about begrudging obligation. It's about willingly shouldering your responsibilities because it is the right and honorable thing to do, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. When the storm rages, the virtuous warrior doesn't abandon their post. They stand firm. They do what needs to be done. This sense of duty strengthens your resolve and gives your actions a profound sense of purpose. And then the powerful reframe, the obstacle is the way. This concept, popularized by Ryan Holiday from the words of Marcus Aurelius, is pure Stoic gold. Challenges, setbacks, difficulties, the very storms we are discussing are not impediments to action. They are opportunities for action, specifically for virtuous action. When faced with an obstacle, the Stoic asks, how can I use this to practice courage, patience, resourcefulness, justice, wisdom? The storm itself becomes your training ground. The difficult colleague is an opportunity to practice patience and justice. A financial loss is an opportunity to practice resilience and resourcefulness. A personal failure is a chance to practice humility and learn. By embracing this mindset, you transform the things that would break others into the very things that forge your strength and polish your shield. In modern application, this pillar combats procrastination by focusing on the duty of the present moment's task. It helps you pursue long-term, meaningful goals by emphasizing consistent effort over fleeting results. It turns difficult projects from dreaded burdens into arenas for displaying your capability and character. Disciplined action means your shield is not just a passive defense, but an active part of your engagement with the world. The third pillar of your Stoic shield is fortifying will, cultivating unconquerable resolve. Perception and action must be backed by an indomitable will, an inner toughness that refuses to break. This is the core strength of your shield, its ability to withstand repeated blows. A key Stoic practice for this is voluntary discomfort. Seneca recommended periodically living as if you were poor, eating simple food, wearing basic clothes, enduring a little cold or hardship, even when you don't have to. Why? To train your will, to prove to yourself that you can endure, to reduce your fear of misfortune by experiencing a taste of it voluntarily. Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, "Is this the condition that I feared?" In modern terms, this could mean taking cold showers, fasting intermittently, deliberately choosing the harder path in a workout, or abstaining from a comfortable indulgence for a period. This isn't masochism, it's resilience training. It's like tempering steel. By exposing yourself to controlled, minor storms, you make yourself far more capable of handling the real ones. You learn that your capacity for endurance is far greater than your comfort-seeking mind believes. Your shield becomes tougher, less brittle. This ties directly into self-control and temperance. The Stoics valued moderation in all things: food, drink, possessions, passions. A will that is constantly swayed by fleeting desires, addictions, and impulses is a weak will. It cannot hold the shield steady when temptation or pressure mounts. Cultivating self-control means mastering your appetites, resisting the allure of instant gratification, and maintaining discipline over your reactions. Are you easily distracted by your phone? Practice digital temperance. Do you overindulge in unhealthy habits? Practice self-restraint. Every time you choose the rational, disciplined response over the impulsive, indulgent one, you strengthen your will. You reinforce the structural integrity of your shield against the internal storms of temptation and the external storms that prey on weakness. Finally, there is endurance and perseverance. Sometimes, despite your best perceptions and actions, the storm simply rages on. This is where sheer, unyielding will comes into play. The ability to hold firm, to keep going, to not give up when things are at their worst. Marcus Aurelius spoke of the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This requires a deep well of inner strength, a refusal to be broken. This isn't about brute, mindless stubbornness. It's endurance powered by reason, by virtue, by the knowledge that you are focused on what you can control, your continued effort, your resilient mindset. It's the quiet determination to get up one more time than you are knocked down. This is the ultimate test of your shield, not just to deflect blows, but to outlast the storm. In modern life, this is what allows you to persist through long, arduous projects, to recover from devastating setbacks, to maintain your principles when it would be easier to compromise. Fortifying your will means your shield doesn't just protect, it endures. It makes you enduring. So, how do you wield this multi-layered Stoic shield in the specific arenas of modern life, against the daily onslaught of its unique storms? Let's get practical. Consider your workplace. It's often a maelstrom of deadlines, difficult colleagues, office politics, and the looming specter of job insecurity. Without a shield, this environment breeds stress, anxiety, and burnout. With your Stoic shield, when a demanding boss or unreasonable client unleashes their frustration, your mastery of perception allows you to see their words for what they are, perhaps a reflection of their own stress, rather than a personal attack that shatters your confidence. You practice the art of assent, choosing not to internalize their negativity. Your disciplined action means you focus on performing your duties to the best of your ability, virtue, justice, diligence, irrespective of office drama. The dichotomy of control reminds you that you can't control your colleagues' behavior, but you can control your professionalism and response. When faced with a challenging project or potential layoff, the storm of uncertainty, negative visualization has prepared you for contingencies. Amor Fati helps you see this as an opportunity to demonstrate resilience or seek new paths. Your fortified will allows you to persevere through pressure without succumbing to panic. The obstacle becomes the way to showcase your competence and composure. Now think about your relationships, romantic, familial friendships. These can be sources of immense joy, but also profound pain and disappointment when storms hit. When conflict arises, your Stoic shield helps you avoid purely emotional reactions. You strive for objective judgment, seeking to understand the other person's perspective rather than just defending your own ego. You remember your duty to act with justice and temperance, even when hurt or angry. If a relationship ends, the pain is real, but your shield helps you navigate it. You focus on what you can control, your own healing, your conduct, learning from the experience. You practice Amor Fati, accepting that this is now part of your story, and Memento Mori reminds you to reinvest your energy into living fully, rather than dwelling endlessly on what's lost. You avoid the trap of believing your happiness was solely dependent on that one external factor. What about personal setbacks? Perhaps a failure in a pursuit you care deeply about, a health diagnosis, or a significant financial loss. These are fierce storms. Your shield, particularly the pillar of disciplined action through the obstacle is the way, reframes failure not as a definitive judgment of your worth, but as feedback, a lesson, a chance to rebuild stronger. Your fortified will, honed by voluntary discomfort, gives you the endurance to face health challenges with courage rather than despair, focusing on what actions you can take to improve your situation or adapt. Financial loss, while painful, is met with a mind prepared by negative visualization and a focus on the dichotomy of control. What practical steps can you take now? Panic is replaced by purposeful problem solving. Your inner citadel remains secure, even if your external circumstances are shaken. And finally, navigating the chaotic digital world, the relentless storm of social media, news cycles, and online discourse. Your mastery of perception is critical here. You develop an immunity to outrage bait, You objectively assess information, resisting the urge to be swept away by emotionally charged narratives. You practice the art of assent, choosing not to let anonymous comments or curated images dictate your mood or self-esteem. Your disciplined action might involve setting firm boundaries with technology temperance, curating your information diet wisely, wisdom, and choosing to engage, if at all, with civility and reason, justice. You don't get drawn into pointless online battles because you understand they are largely outside your control and a drain on your vital energy. Your shield deflects the digital shrapnel that wounds so many. Stoicism, therefore, is not about retreating from the world or becoming a hermit. It's about engaging with the world more effectively, more virtuously, from a position of unshakable inner strength. Your shield isn't a wall to hide behind. It's the armor that allows you to step into the arena of life, face its storms, and not just survive but thrive. It allows you to be in the world but not broken by it. So, what does it truly feel like to possess and wield this Stoic shield effectively? What is the ultimate outcome of consistently applying these principles, of truly making Stoicism your shield against life's storms? It is, first and foremost, a profound sense of inner peace amidst external chaos. Imagine a hurricane raging outside, yet within your home there is calm, quiet, and order. This is the state of the Stoic mind. The storms of life will still come, they always will, but they no longer have the power to uproot your tranquility. You observe them, you navigate them, you may even get wet, but your core remains undisturbed. This isn't apathy, it's a deep, unshakable serenity born of self-mastery. It brings with it an unparalleled clarity of purpose. When you're no longer buffeted by every whim of fortune, no longer distracted by trivialities, no longer enslaved by your reactive emotions, your mind clears. You see what truly matters. Memento Mori sharpens this focus. Your actions become more deliberate, more aligned with your core values. You know what you are about, and you pursue it with a quiet, steady determination, shielded from the noise that derails so many. You experience a remarkable emotional stability and resilience. This isn't about suppressing emotions, remember. It's about not being ruled by them. You still feel joy, sadness, anger, fear, but these emotions no longer dictate your actions or shatter your peace. You acknowledge them, understand them through the lens of your perceptions, and then choose a rational, virtuous response. Setbacks still sting, but they don't break you. Disappointments are met with acceptance and a renewed focus on what can be done. You bounce back faster, stronger, because your foundation is solid. Your shield absorbs the shock. What emerges is authentic strength, not brittle bravado. True strength isn't loud or aggressive. It doesn't need to posture or dominate. It is calm, centered, and self-assured. It comes from knowing you can handle whatever life throws at you because you have cultivated the inner resources to do so. It's the strength of the oak that bends in the wind but doesn't snap, as opposed to the rigid structure that shatters under pressure. This is the strength your Stoic shield bestows. And perhaps one of the most powerful outcomes is that you become a source of strength not just for yourself, but for others. When everyone else is panicking, losing their heads in the storm, the person with the Stoic shield stands as a beacon of calm and reason. People are drawn to that stability. You become a rock, an anchor for your family, your friends, your colleagues. By mastering yourself, You gain the capacity to serve others more effectively, to lead by example, to offer genuine support rather than just adding to the chorus of fear. Your shield, in a way, extends its protection to those around you. This transformation is not an overnight miracle. It is the result of diligent, consistent practice. Forging this shield and keeping it strong is the work of a lifetime. But every conscious choice to apply these principles, every small victory over reactivity, every moment you choose virtue over expediency, adds another layer of resilience, another plate to your armor. Stoicism, your shield against life's storms, is not merely a concept for discussion. It's a call to a new way of living, a path to becoming truly unshakable. So we stand at the close, but also at a beginning. You've been shown the blueprint for Stoicism, your shield against life's storms. You understand the nature of the tempests that assail us in modern life. You've seen the core tenets of Stoic philosophy, the dichotomy of control, virtue, Amor, Fati, Memento, Mori, not as abstract ideals, but as the very materials from which your impenetrable shield is forged. We've explored the three pillars: mastering perception to build your inner citadel, disciplining action to become the virtuous warrior, and fortifying your will to cultivate unconquerable resolve. You've seen how to wield this shield in the practical arenas of work, relationships, personal setbacks, and the digital maelstrom. The brutal truth is this: life will continue to send its storms. There is no escaping them. The only variable is how you will meet them. Will you be a victim, tossed about and broken? Or will you be the Stoic, standing firm, shield raised, ready and resilient? This is not a path for the faint of heart, nor is it a quick fix. It requires daily commitment, rigorous self-honesty, and the courage to confront your own weaknesses and transform them into strengths. But the rewards are immeasurable: inner peace, unshakable resilience, clarity of purpose, and an authentic strength that can weather any storm. The call to action is simple, yet profound. Begin today. Pick one principle, one practice, and start implementing it. Perhaps it's consciously identifying what is and is not in your control. Perhaps it's practicing negative visualization for 5 minutes. Perhaps it's choosing one small act of voluntary discomfort. Do not wait for the perfect moment. The storm is already brewing. Forge your shield in the small choices of your daily life. Embrace the mindset that every challenge is an opportunity to strengthen your resolve, to polish your character. Do not just seek to survive the storms. Seek to use them as the very means by which you become stronger, wiser, and more virtuous. The power to build this shield, to embody this philosophy, resides within you. It is waiting to be awakened, to be honed, to be unleashed. Stoicism, your shield against life's storms, is more than just the title of this message. It is an invitation to forge your new reality, to become the unshakable individual you were always meant to be. Take up the tools, build your shield, and when the storms come, and they will, you will be ready. You will stand firm. You will endure. You will prevail.